Hi, this is Mark. In the last episode, I explained why it is so hard for women to pursue men because it is against the human evolution psychology. Later, I laid a psychological foundation for ladies to attract the desirable mate in this game of love. The philosophy I cited is the art of war, and our strategy is avoid psychoanalysis, and our tactics will be hypnosis. In this episode, we will focus on how. I will explain to you through scenarios and examples, and I promise you no more boring theories. What women should do is not to pursue men, rather to create a situation that man chasing you. The so-called situation is inspired by Chinese philosophy, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. It is not only a book of war philosophy, but also teaches a way of life. Chinese word used in The Art of War is 是, and the closest interpretation in English I can think of is situation or setup. It means to create a situation that your enemy follow the path you set up before them. For example, I defend only because I want you to attack. According to Art of War, successful generals always set up the path for the enemy, but never follow the path of the enemy. This shows the rather differences between Eastern and Western war philosophy. The traditional Western philosophy, or way of thinking, according to Clausewitz, is to create our own certainty to win, which is to make ourselves stronger or better. Well, Chinese philosophy focuses on how to create enemy's certainty to fail. In the military history, almost all famous battles won in the Chinese way of thinking. Let me give you a few examples. In the ancient time, a Chinese general, in order to lure enemy to attack, he retreated. And during his retreat, he ordered his troops each day use less and less field cook stove. You can imagine, this gives his enemy an illusion that he's losing troops each day. The result was the enemy followed him into the trap. The greatest military triumph by Napoleon is the Battle of Austerlitz, also called the Battle of Three Emperors: the Russian Tsar Alexander I, Austria's Francis II, and Napoleon. Leading to the battle, Napoleon and the French army had more uncertainty than Russian and Austrian allies. The French army marched across Europe into enemy territory to meet them at Austerlitz in modern-day Western Czech Republic, close to Brno. Before the battle, Napoleon let the Allies believe that the French army was weaker than they thought and gave up the high ground to its enemy. He gave up. In the same time, the French reinforcement arrived secretly. Allies were so confident and attacked as Napoleon wanted them to, and where the French army were waiting. Meanwhile, the reinforcement recaptured high ground and totally surrounded their enemy. Oh, sorry ladies, I got a little carried away when talking history and military stuff. But my point here is, we needed to learn from Napoleon, not only create our own certainty, but also increase the certainty for guys to surrender themselves to you, to be your prisoner of war and eventually fall in love with you. To create our own certainty, ladies, you have been doing that through perfection, such as the hair, the nails, the looks, the makeup, dresses, and the heels. But how to increase the certainty for guys to fall, that's what I'm going to teach you next. Above all, ladies, we needed to know our target. You would say, what do you mean? Of course, my target is the attractive guys I'm desired. No, not really. Our strategy is trying but not trying, doing but not doing. In regular words, in order to not let the man realize we are pursuing them, we do not communicate with his conscious. Instead, we work on his subconscious. Let his subconscious like us, then push his conscious to pursue us. Let me give you a couple examples about the relationship between conscious and subconscious. Our conscious is like the tip of the iceberg. However, the 90% of the iceberg is under the water. That's the subconscious. We don't know how big, how deep, how dark it is. I I also like to use the man riding an elephant as the metaphor. The man represents the conscious. It seems like he has some control over the elephant. The elephant is the subconscious, bring us to where it wants to go. Scientists have proved that the subconscious drives our behavior. Then we use our conscious to justify those behaviors. Many times we have heard that I don't know why that girl or guy wasn't anything I was looking for, but it just made me feel comfortable and the relationship formed. Now we have a game plan and a scientific support. What will be our tactics? Hypnosis. Yes, we are going to hypnotize the man. Don't think hypnosis is kind of fake or mind trick. A simple way to understand that it is a different kind of meditation to relax the conscious and let the subconscious to emerge or take control. We even hypnotize ourselves. Just thinking about a scenario that your mind was so focused on something that you drove home, don't even realize it. Or you are doing something and reached that status of flow and you ignore the whole world and forgot the time. Hypnosis is achievable and you don't need to make someone to do chicken dancing like they always show on the TV. Anyways, psychoanalysts like to hypnotize their patient in order to communicate with the subconscious. Because when our conscious are awake, it is on high alert and we lie. For example, the problems at home are all your wife's problem or your wife's fault and I am innocent. There are 3 techniques that we are going to walk around the conscious and communicate it directly with guy's subconscious. First, we establish weak connections. Since subconscious is never logical but in a murky state, it will naturally close to something familiar and reject dangerous stuff. Thinking about it, what are the music we listen to most? The ones we're familiar with. What are the most successful box office movies? Sequels or prequels. So, we needed to avoid negative words or expressions such as no or never. In the meantime, we try to synchronize with his pace. As simple as you ask him, hey, what a coffee you ordered. Then you think a little bit, say, I like that. Let me try the same. When he touches his glasses, you play with your hair or touch your neck. When you talk, you try to keep the same pace and the rhythm as his. And follow his topic, unfold the conversation by simply asking questions. Thinking about a poem. To appreciate it, you needed to read it out loud. Let the mind, voice, breathe, and even heart beating in the same rhythm. Another example, when you walk into a room, just had a fight. Your conscious is still wondering what's going on here, but your subconscious quickly senses it, and something's wrong, let's get out here. Because after a fight, everyone's breath is broken, and your subconscious can detect just like that. So laugh together is important because after laughing, the atmosphere can be so pleasant because we all breathe in the same rhythm. Say in a group setting, if you do those things I just mentioned, you don't have to talk to him directly and his subconscious could get aroused. His subconscious goes like, yeah, what's going on here? I feel something familiar. Then his conscious will find out, that girl makes me feel very comfortable. I don't recommend you to pretend to agree with everything he says because he might lose interest or even respect on you. Only flatter him with the stuff you like or agree with. And finally, avoid being competitive. Let him think he's taking the lead. The second step, after we established weak connection, let's establish strong connections. It is to create a bookmark in his mind, basically to train him as a Pavlov's dog. We plant something deep in his mind, and every time we ring the bell, he was thinking about you, and only you. Such as a joke you shared, a movie or song you both liked. If this guy likes politics and economics, as most guys do, you can ask him, "Hey John, can you explain what is the trade deficit the politicians are talking about?" Or next time when you read something interesting about the trade deficit, would you please forward it to me? In the meantime, you tell him, "Hey, don't mention this to anyone else. It's our secret." In such way, you two not only establish a strong connection belong to you guys, but also satisfies his ego. The third step, let's wake up his force, the sexual desire towards you. Many of us are troubled by friend zone trap with our desired mate. Say you had a good friendship, but he never showed any sexual desire towards you. What would you do as a woman? No worries, ladies, I guarantee you it is a much easier problem to solve than men locked in friend zone. Guys are driven by sexual desire, especially young guys. Sex could burst into their minds multiple times in a minute. All you needed to do is to wake his force. Well, since I said ladies should take a conservative role towards sex, I would not recommend you to do pole dancing in front of him. But there are a few techniques you can utilize. If you are drinking a glass of wine, you can play with the leg of the glass up and down like this. So if you don't have a chance to drink wine together, you can just play something like a tube or in your hand, such as a lipstick or a pen. When he talks, you can deeply nod your head, showing your red lips. Yes, red lips. And finally, you don't have to do this unless nothing works. Bite your own lips. Bite your own lower lips when you are looking at each other. I also heard the best time to rouse a man is when his male hormones is stimulated, such as watching a football game. You can simply lick a lollipop from time to time. Well, I swear by my manhood, those small things can work on most heterosexual guys. If Dr. Sheldon Cooper forces can be waked by Amy Farrah Fowler, it will do so to most guys. The bottom line, my suggestion for all women is that you should remain cool and proud walking around with your chest and head up. Because you know you have upper hand in this game of love. You are the empress in the Rome Colosseum, where men are slave gladiators to fight till the last man standing in order to win your satisfactory smile or a thumb up. Ladies, you don't have to be as pretty as movie stars or in the shape as Olympic athletes to be attractive. You just needed to focus on your own strengths and review them and let guys notice. Yes, guys are visual animals, but our tastes are diverse. Tall versus short, skinny versus curvy, breasts, hips, long legs, fingers, toes, you name it. Guys are like the mosquito in the summer nights. As long as you are taking care of yourself, build up your own attraction, our blood-sucking desire for mating will drive us towards you. We are not going to stop here about this topic. In the third episode, we will elevate the feminine energy of connection to a different dimension to analyze why Donald Trump won the 2016 election through public psychology perspective. In my previous episode, Forget About Your Privacy, Here Comes the Big Data, I explained the technical side, how Trump won through the help of Facebook and Cambridge Analytics. I'll post the link underneath if you're interested to find out. Thank you for watching. If you find this content interesting, please share with your girlfriends or any of your friends. Thank you.